Watching my generation throw away their 20s. I mean, this is pretty common nowadays, I feel like. Maybe not back in the day where you'd have to be drafted for war, go work in the factory, have kids young, and be married. But now, Gen Z in the 2026, it's just really kind of stagnant. I want to give a little insight of what I think about it. I'm 23 years old. I can speak for it myself. And I really feel like I had my own independence from age like 14 onward. And I feel like now I'm seeing a lot of 20-year-olds just drifting, not being independent, and not taking action on their mind and expanding it. So I have a few points today, four in particular. And the first one is comfortability with being in an uncomfortable space. What I mean by this is you're not taking any action to change your situation because you're comfortable there. One great example that so many people can relate to, and that I have in the past, is it sucks working a 9 to 5 job or, longer than that. And after work, you get out and you have no energy for anything else. That is what I call being comfortable in an uncomfortable place. You still, week by week, go to this job that drains you every week, and it sucks. It's uncomfortable. There's no fun in that. But we stay there because the change is too great of a feat to come across that we never even take a step out and think about what the other opportunities there are in life, and just allowing our regular routine that we've had for months or years just continue going, even though it's terrible. I remember being at a job, I was a mechanic, and that was okay of a job, but at the end of the day, I would get there around 7:45, I would leave around 5, sometimes later, and after working on cars all day in the heat or in the cold, you just don't have any energy. It's dark out or it's about to be dark out. It's rush hour on the way home, so there's a half an hour drive. Those few hours after work, I would just be playing video games or doing nothing, maybe make a video, but I was comfortable being in a shitty spot. In this position, you just end up accepting it and living with it, even though you're complaining about it or comparing yourself to others without any type of action, because you just stay where you're at and don't move, don't change things up. You got to change your environment or what you're doing for your job or just in anything that we're talking about. But really in the 20s, I think people get really set in stone on working a shitty job just because it's been normalized. And that is my second point, is we cannot be drifting in our 20s. We have to have goals, set the time horizon for them, attempt to achieve them, switch things up, have new directions, have new hobbies, have things that inspire us to get up every day. Because with drifting, it leads to so many bad habits, and the main bad habit is just a lack of action, which is one of the main goals of this channel. And it's in my description. We need to stop drifting, take action, take back our lives, or take our lives to a level that we've never been to before. One of my favorite little quotes I use from my dad that has installed some wisdom on me was when he was working in the restaurant industry. He was a manager, and he had many employees that lacked a sense of urgency, and he would have to talk to them about that. And I just love that term. You're lacking a sense of urgency when you have no direction. You need to be able to wake up in the morning and not just lay there or doom scroll in things. Something I struggle with a little bit, is on my days off. The 2 days I have off, I definitely sleep in longer. Don't really have that sense of urgency because I have such a longer day ahead of me. But if I were to lock that in, I would be much more successful in achieving my daily goals. And I think it's really important that instead of doing the hard thing last and drifting throughout the day until we get to that final point of no return to where you have to achieve your goal for the day, taking that and pushing most of it to the front load is definitely a super helpful piece. So just in the daily life of drifting, I think, something I could work on, but overall picture is obviously way more important too. In having certain goals that you're constantly working towards, whether it be very simple, like cleaning up your house for, let's say, we're going to give up 2 months and I want this place to be completely transformed. Take pictures, video it throughout the days, take, action, go to the dump, clean, scrub things, buy the detergent or whatever you need to do to get the job done. There are steps to get there in every place of life, but that was just an example. And when you're in a bad state of drifting in no direction, it leads me to my third point, and that's the normalization of recreational and non-recreational drugs. This is a large problem to have in your 20s. If you want to experiment with drugs when you're 70 years old, that's one thing. But when you're in your 20s, it's completely rewiring the way that you think about daily life, and exposing yourself to really high pleasures and high frequencies when you're in a really low frequency is not very helpful. If you're in a good state of mind, that every day feels exciting and you're ready to live life without any drugs, I think it's somewhat okay to have a drug experience. But if you are depressed or have depression tendencies and can't get up in the morning or go to your job on time or really have a positive outlook on life, I think drugs are absolutely a complete scapegoat and something that can really tear you apart, because now you're starting to lean on something for that pleasure. And instead of creating pleasure on your own, in your own system, in ecosystem, you're relying on something that not only costs you money, your health, your time, but also is illegal most of the time. So, of course this goes with drinking, smoking weed, and nicotine products, but I'm more talking about the psychedelics, the things that bring your level elevated for a short period of time or a long period of time. In the case of weed, is if you cannot have a good day without those, you shouldn't be having them, because you have to fix what's at the core first. This is something that's been normalized in the 20-year-olds now, and especially weed and drinking. Now it's so common, oh, you need a drink. I hear this all the time, whether it be a joke or not, from people I know, is, oh, I gotta get a drink after this, or, I wish I was stoned right now to get through this day. And it's like, no, the hard things about your day are just gonna get harder if you supplement them with external sources, and especially things that are detrimental to your health and financially. It's really rough. And, I was thinking to myself a few nights ago, I definitely want to talk about this in a video, because I did make one about weed, but there was a certain point that I didn't really come across, and that's it's so normalized in our minds to not be ashamed of taking drugs or be ashamed of drinking. I would fully have shame if people knew that I was drinking every night or, ripping bongs and shit. I mean, I don't, but I would feel such a sickness of shame, and I would absolutely want to elevate myself from a public persona. And not having any shame around being on drugs is crazy to me, but it doesn't exist anymore for a big part of the generation. When we were in middle school, we got those programs coming in, and wouldn't it be really rough to tell that person that is explaining their whole life story that, yeah, I'm just smoking weed, I'm doing drugs, I've been doing it for the past 10 years. Oh yeah, I'm not addicted. They'd be very disappointed in you, And like your parents, like, you think that they definitely don't care at all. No, they definitely do. And with like parents, siblings, your kids, imagine if you had kids and you're like, yeah, I'm a drug addict because I just didn't put this thing down at 20 years old. Or I tried some drugs and now I like them so much because my daily life sucks that I can't live without them. Like, that's so embarrassing as a guy to have a vice like that. Or just, especially if you have a kid. Like, if you bring a kid in this world, you better make sure that you're the top level guy that you can possibly be. Not saying I'm there at all, but I don't know, there's a certain level of extreme that we go across. Like, with me being on a certain level of discipline and hope and loving life versus what I find so many men are just on the complete other spectrum. You know, if you go and talk to someone, they're like, I'm having the time of my life, living in paradise, when they're at the job and you know it's a joke, instead of, yeah, I'm having the time of my life, I love it here. That's the attitude that you have to have. That's the attitude I have, even on days that I'm not feeling that great. I'm not super sarcastic about it. I'm like, yeah, I like this job. People ask me at my job, what are your plans for the future? What do you like? I'm like, I like this job right now. I'm a server at a restaurant. I get to drive 10 minutes to work. I'm grateful for it. You know, it's a great place. I have good coworkers. Obviously, yeah, I have some issues with some coworkers. Obviously, yeah, it would be nice to have a 5-minute drive or make 2 more bucks an hour versus what I am, or have a slightly different situation. But can we not see the gratitude in that? I know I was getting a little off the tangent there, but really, drugs and substance abuse is so damn normalized now. We should be ashamed at 20 years old to be wasting our lives doing this. Like, the wisdom of so many people over and over and time again is to not do drugs. And you just don't listen to that? What the hell is going on in your brain that makes you think that you're superior over people who have had 30 years of experience doing these things that have negatively impacted their lives? Oh my gosh, I don't understand it. Do you want to stay in the cycle forever of constantly using? Or just saying it's okay and it's no big deal? It's a big deal altering your mind and getting yourself addicted to something potentially. And we need to be okay with living life without drugs. That's kind of my whole point, is we need to love life enough to get up every day and not have to cope with damn drugs, whether it be prescription or recreational or hard drugs. Anyway, I don't really abide to that bullshit, you know. People will prescribe you stuff versus actually trying to solve the problem or create an environment that will have new ideas and make you want to live life a little better. What a great topic to transition to my final point of things that are destroying the 20s of young men. And that is the I'll figure it out later mentality. Who the hell came up with this? I see it in so many comments, especially on financial YouTube videos. Oh, yeah, if I save 200 bucks a month, it'll be nothing. You know, $1 million is nothing when I am 65 and I'll be dead. The likelihood of you reaching retirement age, or at least be in your 50s, is pretty high unless you do drugs and are in a crazy sport or something, have a weird job that has a high death rate. You're gonna live long. You better have a plan for it. Side note, real quick, why is it so wrong to live long? I hear so many people say, oh, my grandparents are 100 years old. It sucks to be me. I'm gonna live till I'm 80. Wish that didn't happen. You know how many people would be so grateful to have 80 years, 90 years, 100 years of life? It's so selfish and wrong for you to think that your life isn't significant enough to say that you want to die a young age. I don't want to live long, because you have this depressive mentality. You got to take that seriously. You only have so many years. I'm 23 years old. I feel like I've only started living the past 10. So the first 10 of your life, years of your life is completely wasted. I only got 5 or 6 more of these damn things. What am I going to do in that time? This is a big deal. We can't just be letting everything go till later. I'll figure out my life plan later. I'm just going to do drugs, spend all my money, gamble everything away, not invest in my future, whether that be in the mentality or finances, because we think the future is doomed. What is wrong with you? Every year of your life, you should be trying to elevate your mindset. The people who say high school years were the best years of my life, that has to be the worst mindset you could possibly place in your brain. Every year is supposed to be better. Even if you have deaths in the family, even if you have divorce, it's a better year of your life for challenge, for growth, for opportunity, not for the way that you're living your life. If you're homeless the next year, obviously it would have been better to not be. But the opportunities of growth and the different challenges that life brings you is what is exciting about life. The stagnicity of saying, I'll figure it out later, do the drugs, not care about your finances, not care about your health, not care about your relationships at all, and just say fuck it, is absolutely going to get you nowhere, and it's going to leave you a life of misery. I know that because there were a couple years in my life to where it felt like that. But as soon as you start taking control, have hobbies, have friends, don't care about what other people think, really put yourself out there, get a damn animal if you need to. You know, I got my cat Angie. That was a spur of the moment thing. You know, I didn't have a cat up here, and it was kind of nice to add that in my life. Oh, now I'm going to start playing bass again because I haven't been doing that for 5 or 6 years, and I never really liked it back then. Let's see if I like it now. I love it. Adding new things in your life and deciding that, yeah, I'm going to make a change, whether it's permanent or not, it be something that you do for a month. Waking up at a different time, going to bed at a different time, going to the gym, running around the block, anything that you can do to physically get going and mentally be motivated for any type of passion will leave you from a way of drifting, in a way of doing drugs, a way of not caring about where things go. You have to take control of your life. It's absolutely so ridiculous to say, I'll figure it out later. You will not be able to figure it out later. When you are 65 years old, you have a bad knee, you can't work in construction anymore, it's harder to get a job, and now you're at Walmart as a greeter, if they even have that job. The figure it out later mindset has caused so many people to be reactive instead of disciplined and proactive and actually think critically about their life. It's one of the hardest things to do, is to think about your own life without your emotions. So, for example, today, I had some emotions about making this video, like, oh, I gotta make the video, don't really know what I'm gonna talk about, whatever. Emotions aside, we did it, we're here. Everything that I had in my head all day to get to this point, it doesn't matter because I took the action and actually started pressing record on the damn video. Started making up some bullet points. There has to be some way of figuring out, I'm going to do it now, not tomorrow, which was something that was in my mind. Like, I'm not going to make a video today. I'll just do it tomorrow morning. But that's what I did yesterday. That's what brought me here to doing this video today. I should have been doing this yesterday. So here's an example right now of me utilizing that, oh, I'll figure it out later. No, if you got something on your mind, if you got something to do in your life, especially something that matters a lot more than just this damn video, and it'd be like, how do you want your life to go? How do you want to retire? Who would you want to have kids with? Do you want to be with a drug addict girlfriend that cheats on you and then you have 2 kids with, and then she gets knocked up by someone else? Like, what is going on here? We need to have a plan in life. As early as like 12, 13 to start utilizing some skills in creating action instead of just complacency and laziness. Man, I don't know what you think about all this, But I just get fired up because I know certain people in my life that have some of these traits. I also have some of these traits too, to a certain extent. But I've been working the past 10 years of my life almost to not be a loser. Whether that actually work out very well from a young age, you don't really know. You know, like 13 years old, going out, riding around, and trying to pick up some properties to do mowing lawns at. I didn't realize how much of an effect that would really have on me 10 years later at 23. And then at 14, getting the job at Market Basket and bagging groceries, and how I hated that job so much. It was the worst job. Physical pain would come over me just for a 4-hour shift because of how much it sucked. Never had a job that terrible again, and I won't. And just do anything to get out of that situation. So I took a job for less pay, worked there, worked my way up, found that there was actually people that cared about your ambition and your success and that would invest in you because you're valuable. And then you work hard, you come early, you do your research. And then realizing that other people don't care about you and just care about the results. So I moved to a place that just cared about results. And that's how I was paid, was through the results. And that opened my mind up in another realm. You don't know exactly what you're doing today will affect you in the future, but you cannot, absolutely cannot, just let it slip and say, I'll think about it tomorrow. I'll do it another day. I'll do it another year. Clean the house now. Get in shape now. Go hang out with your friends and family now. Go work extra hours now. Concluding with this, the 20s are not the prime of your life. Every year is supposed to get increasingly better in motivation, in mindset, in determination, in discipline. Every aspect you should be leveling up year by year. But the 20s are the absolute most important because it's building your foundation. It's creating those paths. And each path goes into way different trees. And each branch or each path has way different roads. So do you want to have the roads that lead to bad things, or do you want to have roads that can lead to good things? So we must take action in our lives. Do not do drugs. Do not let it all fall till tomorrow. Do not be complacent and just let life ride. This is so important. So I'm in my 20s. I got 7 more years to go, hoping that you all are with me on a path to greatness.